currently home and fully recovered, and my sister isn't too far behind me on the road to recovery. About 2 or so months ago now, I made a mistake of going to Best Buy and then Target while not properly protected, and sure enough, a week and a half after, I got really sick. It was a pretty hard few weeks full of high fevers and a weird, foggy feeling like I wasn't in my own body. It was strange. I'm very thankful that my sister and I only contracted what was a mild case of the virus, and now that my day-to-day life is finally returning as close to normal as it can get, I noticed how gaming habits have been changing. Video games, more than ever, are becoming a lovely stress relief for people across the world, and some are even getting into gaming now due to the fact that they are stuck at home. Formerly, live service online games like Fortnite were incredibly annoying, but now they are the equivalent of maybe an online public park or something, where friends can meet up and complete activities together. I personally gravitate towards the less competitive and more casual online games such as Sea of Thieves, and to my absolute shock, the surprisingly okay Fallout 76 Wastelanders update. Of course, I've also been playing Halo, both on PC and Xbox. Halo's forward-thinking design philosophies about external sandbox and vehicles allow for a ridiculously modular experience when jumping into custom games. All it takes is a few tweaks to gravity, and then every player being given a concussion rifle or a brute shot for the match to become a first-person game of pinball. It's why players have been able to successfully create entirely different kinds of games in Halo, such as sports games, racing games, dogfighting games, and so on. In a world where social activities must be done online for the time being, and game development has been disrupted across the industry, community creation tools are more valuable than ever, as it allows the player base to build the content and online play spaces for themselves. Halo 2 Anniversary was recently flighted on PC, and with Theater and Forge on the way to PC, I'm very excited to see how it affects the population for the game. MCC will also be getting a custom game server browser, similar to the one Halo 5 uses, which will be excellent for allowing the community to come together and build their own mini communities using the game's tools. As a side effect of probably the virus and how it's changed working conditions, Battlefield 5 recently announced that its live service content train would be slowing down as DICE focuses on other projects. And since that announcement, the fanbase has been saying they won't be playing the game anymore, which I think is kind of interesting as a flip side. Halo 5 has not received a single patch from 343 in years, and yet new content and new playlists are constantly being made. It's why I'm excited for the custom game server browser coming to the Master Chief Collection so that it can benefit in a similar way, not needing to rely on developer-made patches, but rather community-created things. Valve games such as Half-Life, Counter-Strike, Left 4 Dead, and famously Gary's Mod still have very active communities and new content being generated long after their relevancy as games end. And while Forge and custom games aren't exactly on the same level as modding, a similar situation is occurring here with Halo 5. I don't believe the future of Halo, or well, any game for that matter, should be a dependency on developer-made content and updates, creating an ever-hungry community that is trained to believe that a game is dead and ditch it unless it receives at least 1 or 2 patches every month from the developers. Designing a game that can really only live by the variety created by the developers themselves is the equivalent of getting a train running and having to put the tracks down in front of the train as it's en route. Eventually, developers will burn out and then the train will just crash. What's funny is Halo 5 wasn't always like this. It launched in a very similar situation to Battlefield 5. It was missing key modes that players expected, there was no Forge, no custom server browser, and players were getting very impatient as the months went on. The key to creating a game that can sustain itself long term is creating a game from the base up that can be handed off to its community, and then they can begin forging new experiences long after the developers have moved on to new projects. And while they weren't there initially in Halo 5, much to players' frustrations, community tools were eventually added to Halo 5, and it's part of why Halo 5 succeeds where Battlefield 5 does not. I'm interested to see how Halo 5's community tools' success will impact the development of Halo Infinite, and if it will cause them to view it as kind of a key pillar of the game. The Master Chief Collection's retroactive inclusion of a custom games browser in the future seems to suggest that 343 views it as an important tool for Halo going forward. I hope 343 approaches Halo Infinite from day one with long-term community content creation in mind. I hope that they include the proper tools that we need at launch and includes a much more varied and diverse sandbox to allow for a wider and more creative array of content than what Halo 5 offers. It's an interesting topic in general, and I'm actually curious about what you feel is important for a game's health and longevity. Tell me your preferred types of games, and what about them keeps you coming back. In the meantime, I probably need to get to work on my next video.